Hi everyone, you're gonna see a little bit of smoking here. I have my sage bundle and I was reading the smoke, so that's what I'm doing. So I was meditating the other day, and the message that was coming through is that I should do a recording of me doing a reading on myself. And the word that I was getting is transparency. So I wanted to see if there was any additional message. Maybe I was misinterpreting what was being told to me. And anytime that I would look elsewhere or try to look elsewhere, they would redirect my attention to do a reading on myself. So that's what I'm gonna do. The song that I'm picking up is Pyramid by Therese. I will put that below. And I do see pyramid, but I also see kind of like this, and I think these are actual like yoga. I don't know what they mean though. I guess I'll look into them, but I'm seeing this and it's telling me to get to it later, and I'm seeing this. So prior to November 22nd, I was feeling this energy getting stronger and stronger and stronger in my awareness. And on the 22nd, that morning was very strong, and I could feel it was some angelic presence, but I couldn't feel the identity of it. And so I felt called to use the archangels, and Metatron kept coming forward. So when I started thinking, okay, let me meditate and then kind of open myself up to the information from Metatron, and I immediately felt a resistance and to not do that, and to be aware of what I'm saying and what I'm doing and where my energy is being open and directed to. And so I corrected myself of saying, God, right? Asking God for the answers, the information. I am open and available to hear your guidance. And of course, any agency of God who is to be a representative of these words, what is it that I'm supposed to be hearing? And so Metatron, I do believe that's kind of it's a way of self-preservation, spiritually protecting yourself, having an extra barrier, keeping yourself aware of what you're saying, and again, where you're directing your energy, because that can kind of leave you into a potentially hazardous situation, spiritually speaking, because of the masking energy, and just it can kind of slowly slip away if you start kind of going rogue with that, right? And so that was a strong message for me, like pay attention, because something preceding this is going to be significant or impactful. And so keep your direction, keep your focus where it needs to be. And so what I got later after I meditated, it was, I don't know, it was shortly after, so it was prior to the afternoon. I don't know how long after, it might have even been immediately, that what was being explained to me was energy, right? Like we're energy, musical chords, waves, frequency, like however you want to describe it. We operate on our own kind of frequency, right? Our consciousness carries its own unique chord. And so it was being shown to me in waves, though, like wavelengths, right? And how what I do, what I have been doing, is amplifying the wave. And so when I connect, I'm going to the source that I'm amplifying by matching the wave. And then it was being explained of you're going towards this next chapter, like this new, I don't want to say goal because it's not a goal, but it's this new process where originally you go up and now you're going out, and it's like flat, like and this is representative of Earth, and it's like you're going through Earth, you're going forward and through Earth. And so then it was being explained, like the frequency, the polar opposite frequencies of heaven and hell, just, or good, love, wholeness, equality, equal to everything, versus evil, right? Ego, individuality in its essence of devoid of that collective union, so on and so forth. They're polar opposite frequencies, and they intersect and create that new frequency, which is Earth. It kind of like, it doesn't neutralize it, but it looks like that, and that is creation. So these two frequencies created what we are perceiving, right? And so as our frequencies exist as a whole consciousness, when we perceive Earth, we're perceiving that frequency that combines, right? That kind of intersects, or like, I'm saying like a corner, right? So like that, and so then it creates Earth. And so when we talk about like raising the frequency of Earth, then that's because we're inputting more of the higher vibration, and it's raising that lower vibration. And then if we lower the frequency collectively, then it's bringing in more of this, right? And so it was just being explained to me in that way, and I didn't really know what the relevancy was of that. I was like, okay, it's just a new perspective of things that I already know, so I wasn't really sure why, or like what the point was. So later that evening, I felt a really strong presence, and it felt like energies, so like multiple individual energies, and it didn't feel like human. It didn't feel like people who were, looking into me or anything. It didn't feel like people who have crossed over. It didn't feel like any sort of entity, like energetic wise, of something that exists in spirit, because this energy felt like it possessed free will. And so it was like energies, like if I feel a person, but people have a certain energy, like you can feel their energies, but they feel like a person. And so this did not feel like a person, but I could feel their energy, and I could feel that they're neither good nor bad, because it can go either way. It's very complex, right? Like you can't say a person's good or bad necessarily, because there's a complexity to us, and we can go whichever way we choose to a certain degree, right? And so where this fell is it's a parallel type of energy, in the sense of saying that it possessed nearly, if not completely, the equal amount of free will that we possess. And so I started feeling really dizzy, and I started thinking, is there something wrong with me? Maybe I'm not picking up on anything. There's like something wrong with me. I checked my vitals. Everything was fine. I thought maybe it was going to be an inner ear issue. And so I was like, you know what? Let me try and go on a walk and see if like getting some fresh air is going to help. And so when I started leaving my house, like I was still in my yard and I was looking up at the sky, and I got so dizzy, and I almost fell over. I mean, I was like in the process of falling, but I caught myself on one of my pillars. And so I was like, okay, let's just go and see what happens. You know, I have everything if like something bad happens to me. And so I went on a walk, and the further I got from my house, the better I felt. And I started thinking, is there something wrong with the house? I don't know, like a leak or something. But none of my animals were reacting. And so when I was going on my walk, I kept getting this feeling, like this message of like, be aware of the times, like, you know, when you're picking up on people's energy, you know. And I think this is very relatable to many people. It's like someone that you're close to, or you may not even be close to, and you get this feeling, like you start feeling sick, or you start feeling excited, all these kinds of things. You randomly start thinking about someone very strongly. And then when you talk to them, you find out that something was going on with them, and you're like, oh my gosh, I felt that, right? Like, I got so excited the other day, or whatever, or I was like, whatever, and then right, okay. So it was this feeling, or like this message coming through of like trying to get me to be aware that the potential is there, that I was picking up on some other energy, like to ground, and basically telling me to like ground myself, right? Like, don't get caught up in that feeling, that kind of feeling ill, because you're ungrounded. And I was honestly having a difficult time accepting that, because I just want to make sure everything's fine. I don't want everything to just like, I don't want to assume that it's like something spiritual every single time, some spiritual experience, if there's like something actually wrong going on, right? And so I was grappling with that, but I started feeling fine during the walk, and I like kind of accepted that that's what it was. And I was like, you know, if that's gonna make me feel better, like, even if that's not what if that's gonna make me feel better, then I'm just gonna say that that's what it is, you know, because the mind is a very powerful thing. So let's just go with it, I guess. And so I started feeling better, and then I kind of accepted. So I'm gonna grab myself, everything's fine. But as soon as I started getting closer to my house at the end of the walk, I could feel the energy very, very strongly again. And I was like, there's something here. Oh, let me mention too. So prior to this, the 22nd, I did feel multiple energies, right? So I was feeling that presence that I'm going to identify as Metatron. And I did feel this presence that I'm just now talking about for like a while, but it wasn't as strong. It was like how I've been feeling it. Like today I felt it, and yesterday I felt it, but each time it's like different. Like today I feel it, and it's very similar to like days prior to this, where it's like this almost like just kind of like peeping in and out. This time The 22nd, it was like a scanning energy, and it felt like there are multiple energies scanning, like going back and forth, scanning my entire like vicinity of where I am currently, like where I'm living right now, right? Scanning, scanning, scanning. And it felt like, again, not good or bad. It was more of like, if we were aliens, this is really what I'm getting at, is it's like aliens. If we were aliens to another dimension, I feel like they're interdimensional aliens, okay? So if we were to go to this other dimension to perceive these other aliens, and they function completely different than we do, then we would be reading their energy in the same way that I felt they were reading my energy, in the sense of, like, it felt like they were just scoping me out, like, kind of like, am I who I say I am? Like, am I a bad person, right? And so, like, picking up on every little thing that exists in my area and like reading it in some way, right? Like when I do readings, so it's like feeling the energy to try and see what's up, what's going on here. And so I sat outside and I was literally like, you know, not really, I wasn't doing my hands like that. This is significant here, that's why I did it. I will bring that up in a minute. But I was just like feet to the ground. I'm like feeling myself like rooted into the ground, and then pretty much like severing my energy from what I felt was like very powerful, very strong. And I was just like trying to see what it was, and it was just like scanning. And I'm like, and when I did that, I was like, there's definitely something in my house. Like, it wasn't even just in my house, it was like my whole yard. But I'm like, there's definitely some stuff there for real. So whatever. So I went inside, and as I was going inside, I could feel this like nervous energy, not from me, from that energy. It was like shy, nervous, nervous to be caught. And so, yeah, so then that happened, and I honestly don't remember the rest of the night. I think I went to bed like shortly after that. I don't remember the rest of the night. I don't remember. I'm trying to think. I literally don't remember anything about the rest of the night, other than I woke up in the middle of the night. I'm trying to think, because I know why. So I'm just trying to make sense of it. So I must have, like, before I went to bed, been like, you know, again, just kind of like let it go, you know. And like, I have my annual doctor's appointment coming up, like let's just chill, and you know, we'll know if something's wrong. So I think I was like going back to thinking, I don't know, it could go in any way of what's going on. Because I woke up in the middle of the night, and I got up and I started feeling the vertigo. And there were only a couple other times that I've had vertigo where it was very similar to this kind of stuff, where I would constantly be like second guessing something that's very spiritually strong. And it isn't until I just kind of face it and accept it and be like, this is what's going, like really call it what it is, that I feel better. It like it turns like it makes me just literally vertigo. And so because I started feeling it picking up, vertigo coming on, I was like, okay, it is what it is. Let's call it like what I believe. There's freaking aliens around here, and that's it. And I felt better. I went to bed and I slept really good. And that's that. Okay. So let me just take a second. I want to take a break. And then I'm going to come back and finish what I was going to say. Okay. Little cornbread break. Okay. So I tried to figure out who was visiting. And what I got was this, I felt at peace, this peaceful feeling. But the image that I was getting was a bald eagle feather, and then it zoomed me out into a clear sky, and I saw a soaring eagle. And then I felt so that's what I got, right? And then I asked one of my good friends to do a complete blind reading, and I didn't tell them till later that it was me and these aliens. And so what they got was similar. So what I'm saying, I'm just gonna mix together, which is I was perceived as kind of like a stalker. And that these alien beings were shy, and they were trying to mentally like run away from me, but physically running into me, and not wanting to be seen. And I mean, I guess that's fine. I guess I am kind of being a stalker because I'm trying to figure out who they are, even if they're in my vicinity. I think the whole point of kind of trying to pass through in the way that they did is supposed to not be seen, witnessed, right? So what I saw later, so I've been kind of like thinking about it since, trying to just like pick up more information, and I saw this. And again, I'm aware that some of these movements are like they're connected to yoga, but I'm sure it's connected to some like spiritual thing, but I don't know the origins. Like I want to know the origins of it, if anything. But basically I saw this, and it was a representative of a mountain. So these are like mountain ranges. It's kind of like in Arizona. So it's like these long, like red mountains. And then here's like a cliff, and then another mountain. And there's the sun peeking through right here. And this is where they're from. It's like right through here. And then they zoomed out again. They showed me standing in a far enough distance from these mountains, and it brought me to an old identity of myself, past life, where I was witnessing this. So it feels like some sort of, I'm gonna say shaman because it's very native feeling, or like Native American kind of feeling. I don't know where, but you know, it's like I'm like staring at this and I'm witnessing the pass through, and then the mountains take shape of different things, like a deer, like some sort of deer, like antelope. And this is telling me a story. It's like their way of communicating and telling me a story, and then I'm communicating it to other people. And then and so there's that, right? And then what I gathered So I'm just telling you these things I'm gathering. So what I was gathering later too is like where they come through at, it's like they seal it off, right? And the way that they're able to even really come through is kind of like, it's not similar. It's gonna sound similar, but it's not exactly similar of how I've mentioned that these dark entities find light workers. They find the light, especially like young psychic children. They can find you by your light, by your essence. Now, we are portals, right? To some degree and fashion, and especially when you're opening your consciousness, which means you're raising yourself above, so your wavelength, right? And you're perceiving it as this particular frequency. When you raise or lower your frequency, you're expanding it, right? So instead of a narrow-minded, you're expanding, going above or around or outside in some way, or even a bigger perspective of it. And in doing so, it creates a bigger kind of energy field, or like a unique pattern, or like a bigger pattern or a shorter pattern, but it's bigger or shorter in one perspective. But the other perspective of what you're doing, irregardless, is it's opening the it's opening this vessel of which can kind of potentially pass through. And so these energies, I'm saying something that sounds very similar to something else. If you catch what I'm saying, like it's like very similar to like darker stuff, but it's also operates on another way, right? Like I can't explain, like you can't explain, well, I think you already follow, so it's fine. If it's not, we'll just figure it out later. So yeah, so they somehow, it's like it's like a collective, I'm not sure. It's kind of like, you know how there's different portals anyway, right? Like the way that the planetary shifts happen, it changes the energy also, and it does allow pass-throughs of all kinds of things to happen, whether it's spiritual, how do I distinguish? It's like okay, there are interdimensional demons that exist, that are worshipped, that are summoned, okay? But there are also interdimensionals of like regular schmegulars, like similar to us, right? And then there's also interdimensionals that are like higher, more advanced, right? And then there's like spirit-wise, there's like lower there's demons, and then there's angels, and then there's the spirits of crossed overs that are not their identity is not tied to any of that, because these other, like what I'm specifically talking about that was visiting, are interdimensional in the sense that they're also souls. They're also existing right now in that creation, right, of the high and the low to what we can perceive, right? So they're existing in this like overall field of what's created. They're just in another place. They're in like another galaxy. They're somewhere else. And there's something that that shifts, whether it's the planetary alignment that's been happening recently in 22, maybe was able to, for me to get closer to them. I don't know, like to perceive them. I don't really, when I say that, I don't think that's what it is. I think that it helped me, but now that I've pinpointed that, it's gonna be easier, because it like helped me, like once I see it, then I could possibly replicate it to go through where they went through. Well, I'm gonna get there in a minute, but it's like they came through in a way that the overall frequency has been allowing them. So they've been coming through and going out, but there's this feeling of like sealing the door. Like they seal up how they came through, because just as they can come through, then that allows for other energies to come through also, right? So it's like the same thing I'm saying of like, you need to be aware of your energy, you need to be aware, you have to be protected of yourself, you need to be educated on this, like all those things. You shouldn't be, shortcutting with drugs or anything, because there's so much skill that has to be learned prior to doing it, and potential mistakes in order to understand how to not replicate those mistakes and do something even worse, right? And so it's like they're doing the same thing, but like in a physical way. Like if they're passing through some portal, then they're like physically, or like however they're doing it, sealing it up to not let other energies be able to pass through what they've would have left open, right? And then when they were scanning me, they're picking up on my energy to like scope me out, but it also felt like a cleansing type of energy, like almost in tandem with Metatron. Like it's almost it's in tandem with God, in the sense that it's like not only leave no trace behind, but it's like leave it better than how you left it, in the sense of another protection. It's like we're not just protecting you from what we could have let in if we were irresponsible, but we're also making sure that you is like, as you are aware, it's not aware of them, but it's like of what I'm doing, then they're protecting me in some way. They're cleansing something around me, or that's like trying to come through, that hasn't, but they've come to like check me out. And then it's like any little like dark spots, like it feels like in my area, like if there were like other things roaming around here, it's like they came in and like picked it up and took it. Like they left with it. Like they left with it. I don't know. Or like I'm getting disintegrate, so it's like disintegrate or not disassemble, but it has like S's in it. Yeah, and it's like yeah. And what it felt was not wanting to be seen, in the sense and the shyness of so that was that. And then when I felt the presence again coming through again, it coincided with my friend, where it's like playful, kind of like playful, and it was definitely like a back and forth. Like I'm like trying to figure them out. It was like very playful, but not like I don't know, just kind of like, so you see, but it's but no interference. you know, they're not interfering by making themselves known. It's because I'm vibrationally doing something to perceive them that I'm able to see. And so if I want to know more about them, or if I want to know where they're from, I have to go there. And in order to go there, I have to make adjustments. It's not really adjustments. It's like I have to be committed in order to really, like, I have to take it seriously in order to see this, because I have to be disciplined and like actively do things in order, like in my life, like really, I don't know, what would be an example is like I don't know, being more active. Okay, I can be more active, physically active. I can be more aware of maybe where I feel that resistance, you know, or second guessing myself, or being a wasted energy of being too analytical, right? Analyze it, whatever. Don't you know, self-censor, all of that kind of stuff. Like my mind, just go ahead, go for it. Be willing to kind of explore things in my mind, be willing to do that kind of stuff, right? And then, you know, morally be aware, constantly being aware, like that kind of stuff. Be more focused. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of ideas of like what that can kind of entail. Eat less sugar. And so it's like it's this feeling of like we're not going to interfere, right? Because it's not the right thing to do, right? Especially like, for example, like when I do readings, I morally have to make sure that it's okay to tap into this energy, or to see where I'm gathering the energy, and like where I'm directed to access this, right? Because you don't want to you don't want to like, you don't want to take advantage of like your abilities and go in like the wrong direction. You have to do what's right. And you have to know if you're even like, if you have to know if sorry, I'm I keep saying like, I see the number 28, and then this, I'm hearing like, you're here, you're there, keep going. You're here, you're there, keep going. 28 to 82. It's like those 8 and 2. But yeah, it's, I mean, you just have to be, you just, whatever, you get it. I've harped on it so many times. And so I don't even remember what I was saying, but like, I'm just gonna have to skip it because I don't remember what I'm saying, because they're showing me this, right? But it's just so you can see what's inside. And they're showing me this because they're saying like throwing someone to the lions. And so like, looking at the bottom of the pyramid, it's like, you know, when you throw someone into the pit of lions. And how do you how do you overcome, like, how do you, the word is surpass, like, how do you surpass the lion? But it's like, how do you overcome, like, how do you not get eaten, basically? And when I look at this, I can see a keyhole behind the lion. So there's actually a way out of this, not tripod, triangle. What is this? A pyramid. There's a way out. And then this part here is showing me, they're showing me, I forgot the Egyptian, but it's this Fortuna, but in Egypt, what her name, you know, with the weighing the feather. And so it's, what I'm seeing here is like oil and water kind of thing. So it's like being thrown up here, and the weight is, do you fall, the weight will either sink you down to the lion, or it's going to keep you suspended above. And eventually, like, it's like this direct energy. The top is like this direct energy, and it pierces some sort of energetic veil that, and the piercing, it like pulls out, and then you can see something beyond. So then they're bringing me back to the keyhole, and they're saying that to the keyhole, like, you have to be proactive. So it's this feeling of like, you have to befriend the lion. So to be thrown to the lion is in essence inevitable for everyone, in the sense that you have to face, you're going to always be, there's going to become a time when you are face to face with a decision on, it's like this, it's kind of like, I really don't know how to describe it. It's like if you're at the gates of heaven, it's like, do you want to go in or not? Like, we all know we're going to get to the time when it's like your heart is being weighed. And so you have to be proactive in, like, by befriending the lion. You should feed the lion. You should like know who its caretakers are, like make sure that the lion's really well taken care of. So when you go to the lion knows you, the lion knows it's your companion, the lion knows you take care of it, the lion's not hungry, it's not an enemy. And you also have the key, because the guard or whomever was responsible for the lion either gave you a spare or you took it or whatever. And so you can exit, and when you exit, you're also liberating the lion from the pyramid. And so it's this feeling of thinking many steps ahead, because your goal is in this story is to liberate all, which includes the lion, and karmically helping this guard, because the guard may have it's like the guard's uneducated, in the sense that it doesn't see the lion as having feelings. It's just like a piece of machine, right? It doesn't care for the animal. And so whatever you're doing is, you know, to care for this animal, it's karmically kind of helping this person, because they didn't know that they were doing something bad by harming the lion. And then they're just doing what they're instructed by, like, taking, it's not just you that they take, it's like, that's the story of like they're always going to throw, everyone gets thrown into the den of lions. So you know your time is coming. So as you're kind of like, so you're continuously doing this. So they're even showing me, like, you know, everyone's getting thrown in there with the lion, so you're taking care of the lion, and all these people, there's like a community of people living down there, because they aren't getting eaten by the lion, because you're helping tame the lion. And then now the lion also is like friends with it. Like everyone just gets along. So they're showing this, like this is like significant, and this is like something to do with the aliens, in the sense of like this is like something that they're saying. This is like something that they're explaining. I'm, but it's kind of catching me off guard because it's just catching me off guard because I didn't really like expect that. Yeah, so it's like the will, because they're saying like what's the tip, what's the tip of this, like what's this, and the I'm seeing like this golden intense light, like what is that, what is that? And I am like looking, and I was like holding my finger is kind of like a heart, and it's like the like you know, to me the heart and connected to God and so on. And so it's like that energy of emanating like the love, the power, the direct force is impenetrable and penetrable, right? Like in the sense that is nothing more powerful than that, especially when it's directed energy. When you take all that energy and direct it, it's invincible. Um and so then they're also explaining like in order to really see, and they're kind of like giving this example like my friend was saying too, is it's like the ocean, right? It's like you can explain the ocean to someone who's never seen it all you want, but why not just take them to the ocean and they can see it for themselves? And so it's this feeling here of, again, of not interfering with the free will of me, but if I'm able to perceive and I can find out how to do, like if I can find the entry point and how to get through there, then I can see for myself. They're not going to bring me there. They're not going to like, they're not going to interrupt and basically like, again, it kind of brings me back. I guess that's kind of where the whole drug thing is coming in, where it's like a shortcut kind of, but it's then you're not really getting the substance, right? And then they're highlighting substantial, they're highlighting substance, and how it's kind of like, you know, you can spirits like spiritual realm, spirituality, all of that, whatever, like the spiritual realm exists, but without substance there's no direction, or there's no like the catalyst of all your energy. What am I trying to say? I'm seeing like all the words kind of place, but let me like really think. Okay. it's this kind of saying like you can be spiritual, but you can also have no substance. You could be shallow, like you can be devoid of substance. And so God is the substance. The catalyst is love. And I mean, it makes sense to me, but I don't know if I have to make it more clear. I don't know. That's basically what I'm getting is that. Okay, so that's my reading on myself. And I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.